Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning into the AFV Factory. So this is another update on my mouse project, the Flakpanzer Maus. So the last video was about 8 days ago, I believe, and I've been working on this model every day since then, and so a lot has changed in that 8-day period. The tracks have now been sprayed. They're a dark iron. That's one of the Tamiya lacquer paints, just as a base colour. Need obviously a fair bit more work will go into those, but as a base colour it's a good place to start, that dark iron, for this build that I'm doing. Yeah, and obviously a fair bit of painting as well with various paints. So I decided to go for a winter camo style. I'm sort of into those at the moment, so I did the white on the sides on the rusted panels is actually, not quite right. I used Vallejo model colour ivory for that, and as you can see it was just quite randomly applied with the airbrush. I didn't want a solid colour, but I also didn't want a uniform colour as well. I wanted it to be looking a bit hit and miss. So I'm pleased with how that's come out. Obviously all the road wheel bogies are all in place now, as is the idlers. So it's nice the fact that it can sit on its wheels for the first time. I've done a little bit of playing about with weathering on here, not very much, a little bit of chipping here and there, just accentuating these lines with a used, if I can find it, yeah, this again, another Vallejo German cam, black brown. As it says, it's virtually black, but it is a very dark brown, and it gives a good colour of steel that is not fresh and bright, but has just darkened. And I've just gone along, just pick it on the edges again, as I say, just very lightly, really just for my own satisfaction and a bit of playing around, really just to see what direction I'm going to go with this regarding weathering. Yeah, so as far as paintwork is done, or is thought about, that is now finished. I will be next week varnishing that, and then I can put on some decals, and I can then get on the weathering in earnest. The turret has had a lot more work to it. In the last video it was just primed with grey primer, and then it has evolved over the last 8 days where I keep adding bits to it. I started off with the blue, which is light ghost grey LP37, and I ran a bar of that across the bottom there, and then on the other side I did the stripe. This was then followed by the white or ivory, which I used again for that, although it doesn't look the same. It is that paint, and then another stripe of that across again, just in a slightly different place. And initially I was happy with that, and then I kept looking at it and thinking, no, I want to do a bit more here. So I picked it up again. I painted the barrel ends again with the ivory at different lengths, and then the following day I came back to it, and then that's when the green went on there, which is this grey green again, Tamiya lacquer LP33. So I added that in on that side. Again, you can see right through it to the various other colours of paint underneath, which is, I wanted that transparency, so you could see through the paint. Very sort of fine coats, so you know, a bit of a test with my airbrush, so which I quite enjoyed doing as well. Yeah, and so that carried on. I then decided that I wanted the grey here was just too flat and lacked interest. So again, with the technique that I used on here with the white, with the sort of the random spraying on with the airbrush, I've just gone over this again. You know, it will change considerably once it starts to be weathered. But I'm pleased with how it's looking now. I put some of the green and the blue on the barrels. Picked out the doors on the rear with the green. The Commander's cupola is again Tamiya lacquers, whole red. So yeah, so I have been busy, and it's a definite fun project for something. I think I said in the last video that sat in a box under my bench for 6 months. It's yeah, I'm pleased I got it out. It's sort of rekindled my enthusiasm for this build, shall we say. So I've worked on it solely, and the PT91 has been left until I get this finished, which won't be too long. So the other thing I wanted to do, that's always been the case, was because I'd removed a lot of the side armour, I wanted to sort of reintroduce some armour in the form of bar armour. So again, this is made from styrene, and I used these Meng bolts. They do bolt heads. If that is kind of, yeah, so bolt heads, and then the other side are nuts. I'd like to think that's focused, but that's good stuff. So I've used those a lot, and I've used those just across the top there. The idea being it can be bolted on, and obviously the width of the hull was maxed out on being able to be used on trains, on the train tracks within Germany. So adding this to it obviously extends the width. So I decided to, well, to have it bolted on so it can be removed for transport, but also obviously for repair you need to be able to get at these bogies. So yeah, this needs to be able to come off fairly quickly. So yeah, I've got some bashed up ones for the front on each side, and then each one of these are, some are just got a few little dings in, others are bent about more. So I used heat with this, excuse me, just using a lighter and very quickly keeping the heat off so that it didn't go over the top, which I managed to. I didn't actually set fire to anything or melt. Well, some were close to being melted, but they retained their shape, which is what I want. I didn't want them to go out of shape. I just wanted to get some bends and kinks into them. So those will go along here. So they will be painted. That'll be the next stage. So yeah, and again, get some varnish on the turret, get the decals on, and then revarnish, and then I can start weathering with earnest, which I'm looking forward to. So yeah, there we are. That's the news on the Flakpanzer Maus. As I said, it's been a busy week, and in a good way. I've managed to get on it every day, so it has jumped ahead quite quickly, which I'm pleased about. So thanks again for tuning in, and I will catch up with you when more updates are available.